likes us, I don't know why. We may not be perfect, but heaven knows we try. But all around, even our old friends put us down. Let's drop the big one and see what happens.
Oh, it's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. It is the AJ and Allie Show. I am your host, AJ, and right across the aisle from me, the lovely Allie.
Hello, everyone.
She sounds in fine form today. Boy, I can't wait to get into all the news and excitement. We're broadcasting, well, not really live. I was going to say we're broadcasting live, but technically, we're not really live. We're going to be recorded. It's a podcast, but we're broadcasting from the heart of Hollywood. We're surrounded by crazy Democrats. We're conservatives. Well, she's a conservative. You don't know what the hell I am, but
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But we're here, and we're dishing the dirt, and we're revealing secrets long held in the industry. And if anybody ever finds out who we are, could be trouble.
I hope not. That whole freedom of speech thing.
What freedom of speech? There's no freedom of speech here in Hollywood. If you're not a Democrat, you better shut up. I love this song.
It's a great song.
So, today on the AJ and Allie Show, we've got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl and Hollywood and their strange relationship with the NFL. Is it a good relationship? Is it bad? Who knows? We're going to talk about an ugly Democrat. Who will make the list? That'll be interesting. And we're doing something new. A clean living segment.
Well, this is California.
Yes, we're going to give some of our California wisdom to our brethren out there in the rest of the United States and tell them how to live like we do here. And if you do that, you'll be happy and healthy.
I really liked you talking over the music. We might have to find a way to play that the whole time.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, it's just like intriguing.
Well, if we actually had the budget for a producer, we could have somebody here who would play little music clips and stuff like that while we're doing our thing.
Days.
We're working on it. We're working on
know.
it. You know, from humble beginnings.
Okay.
So, Allie.
Yes.
What happened to your damn Falcons?
You know what? My Falcons were on their A game, y'all. They came out, they were ready, they were fighting. I mean, how many times did Brady get sacked?
Not enough, apparently.
Well, so then halftime happened, and they came back, still fighting, a little tired. And then I think they went to sleep. And then all of a sudden, the Patriots are like, oh, this is where we step in. And Tom Brady did his amazing Tom Brady crap, yada, yada, yada. The game was over.
Well, I have to say, you and I were texting each other while the game is on, and at halftime, I'm like, oh, Allie, your Falcons are dominating. This is going to be amazing. Well, you're going to be so happy. And it all went wrong. And now, basically...
Sorry, I'm getting all choked up. I'm having flashbacks.
I'm here picking up the pieces of your shattered world.
Man, I was really bitter. I got to tell you. It's like, but the whole... Like, my husband was outside, and...
Mr. X, the mystery
Mr.
man.
Handsome X was outside, and the Falcons scored, and I'm screaming like a 5-year-old girl, like, cheering, and they said the entire neighborhood, like, erupted in, like, cheers. And so everyone was going for the Falcons, and then, you know, the Patriots... I don't know what happened. I'm going to say I smell a conspiracy, but that's just me being a hater.
Apparently, instead of deflating the footballs this time, Tom Brady deflated the entire Falcons team. He went in at halftime and took the air out of them because they came out flat.
But I don't know if you noticed, it was a 4-hour game.
Yes, it was long.
That is obnoxious.
A lot of commercials, which we will discuss.
Oh, gee. We better get busy. Nobody cares about my opinion or yours, so let's move on.
Everybody cares about our opinion, but we're moving on.
All right.
All right, so we got a lot to cover today, so let's just jump right into it.
We're jumping.
Let's do the breaking news.
All right, so first up today, Super Bowl ratings are down again, as you predicted, for the second year in a row. So the ratings and the audience size for the NFL's biggest game, the Super Bowl, have dropped.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was going to do that. Okay. The total viewership was 111.3 million people, which, surprisingly, is down 600,000 from last year and down 3.1 million people from 2015. That's astounding.
Yes, it is. And of course, if you've been listening to our podcast, we've hinted at the reasons why we think this is, and it has to do with the feminization of the game and the fact that the NFL is alienating its core audience. And the statistics bear this out. Now, you know, here at the AJ and Allie Show, we don't deal in conspiracy theory. We deal in conspiracy facts.
I was going to say, one of us does a little more than the other.
I eschew is conspiracy theory.
Okay.
I deal specifically in conspiracy fact. So if there's a conspiracy and I have the facts,
you're
we will
going
know
for
about
it.
So I don't think this is a conspiracy. I think what it is the NFL has made some decisions that have negatively affected them. We'll talk about that more later, why they've done that, but they've definitely affected their audience.
I would agree.
And they were, you know, I watched some of the NFL executives try to explain this away, and they had this and that reason, and they were like, oh, well, the election stole a whole bunch of our audience, and I'm like,
be quiet.
Yeah, I'm like, that is ridiculous on its face, because the election is not going on Sunday afternoons. It's not going on Thursday evenings. The election was one event. Now, Trump made speeches, but he was very careful not to make speeches during NFL football games. So
why would you? Because no one would watch.
No, it's the same audience. People who love Trump love the NFL, or used to love the NFL until it became feminized. So that whole thing is ridiculous on its face. And then they say, well, after the election, our ratings are only down 1% from last year, as opposed to 11%, which is what they were. And I'm like, this audience rating for the Super Bowl proves that that's a lie as well. You're 600,000 down from last year, which dropped a huge amount from the year before. So it went down huge last year. It went down a little this year, but it's still it's over 3 million people down from 2015. And that was the last time the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. And this was like a historic Super Bowl. So if anything should have brought people to the game, it should have been this. The NFL is losing ratings. They don't know why. We know why.
You know why, but you're educating me.
Well, they're doing things that are alienating their audience. They alienated me, and I'm a diehard football fan, but my wife will tell you, last year and the year before, I said, I have to start weaning myself off of this because it's just not good anymore. And I'm not the only one. People are following suit. It's this Colin Kaepernick stuff. It's the it's throwing their arms around Black Lives Matter. The Dallas Cowboys wanted to put a sticker on their helmets or on their uniforms to commemorate the police officers in Dallas who were shot during that rampage when that guy shot 4 police officers. The NFL said, no, you can't do that, because they are turning Democrat. The leadership...
It is mourning these people's lives and honoring the ones that made it.
They don't care.
Well,
they don't care.
Ones that,
in the meantime, they allowed their players like Colin Kaepernick to kneel down during the national anthem.
Yeah, they need to get their act together.
And come out and give the Black Power salute. So they embraced Black Lives Matter and shunned the police department.
That's sad.
I'm sorry. Black Lives Matter is not your audience. People who are pro-police are your audience. They've alienated their audience. Maybe they'll get smart and come back. But later on, we'll talk about Hollywood versus the NFL, and we'll get deep into why this is going the way it is.
I'm scared.
But there are facts, and we'll get into it.
All right, so we're moving on. All right, so 84 Lumber's Super Bowl commercial brings a backlash. Oh, good with the sound effects. Okay, so the CEO of 84 Lumber, Maggie McGurko, was forced to defend the controversial Super Bowl ad her company aired during the second half of the game after feeling the heat from customers on, you guessed it, social media.
And thank God that we, as their customers, can finally send a message directly to the people who run these companies and let them know when we're happy and when we're not happy. Now, it's amazing. I don't know if you know the whole story behind this commercial, but they originally wanted to air this whole commercial, and Fox, who ran the Super Bowl this year, said, no, it's too controversial. So 84 Lumber, which is the name of this company, came back and said, well, we'll chop the last 15, 20 seconds or whatever off the commercial, which is the controversial part. And then Fox said, okay, you can do that. So they run this commercial in the second half. I saw it. It's right after halftime. The Audi commercial, which is really controversial, and this 84 Lumber commercial runs. And the commercial doesn't really make any sense with the ending chopped off.
A lot of them didn't make sense.
Well, a lot of them are bad. But this one, it's leading up to something, and you don't see what the hell happens. And you have to go to their website to see it. And you go to the website, and it's quite clear that this is an anti-Trump immigration plan commercial. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. So all the people who are NFL fans, who also believe that the country should have a strong border, flame this company on social media saying, how dare you do this, and blah, 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 and give it to them because they deserved it. And it's so hot and heavy that the CEO, this woman, has to come out and walk back the whole point of the commercial. Now, her statements, I'll read her statement right here. She says, "We need to keep America safe," the 51-year-old executive tells People magazine. "America needs to be safe so you and I can talk, can have the liberty to talk. The wall, I think it represents to me security. I like security."
But
so
I thought it was against...
It is. The commercial is against the wall. We're going to take a break now, and we'll watch the commercial, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's against the wall. But she's now gaslighting. Gaslighting means she's coming out and just lying right to your face and telling you what's not true. And she's counting that you're ignorant and won't know what happens in this commercial. But it's definitely an anti-wall commercial. And it's a pro-illegal immigrant commercial. There's no doubt about this. But she's saying, no, that's not it at all. And she claims she's a huge Donald Trump supporter, which I don't believe that either. So why do you think this is? Why do you think this CEO did this? Well, we don't believe in conspiracy theory around here. We believe in conspiracy fact. And with a little digging, which obviously the news media doesn't like to do anymore, but we'll do it here. This woman, Maggie McGearko, is the daughter of the founder of 84 Lumber. And he was one of these tough, hard-scrabble business guys who made billions off of selling lumber to contractors. And he's very old now, so about 20 years ago, he decided he was going to give 25% of the company to all of his children, Maggie included. And she's got another sister and 2 brothers. So he divvied up the company to his children. The 3 other children squandered their part of the company, squandered their $1 billion or $2 billion. Maggie was the youngest, so she didn't quite squander all of her money. And so the founder of the company gathered the company shares back together and said, okay, obviously you guys are idiots. I have to take over the company again, but I really want my daughter to do it. So he basically forced his youngest daughter, Maggie, to take over the company. She was a college dropout, has no business experience. So he puts this multi-billion-dollar company in her hands, and she promptly runs it into the ground. So she gets handed a multi-billion-dollar company with hundreds of employees, maybe thousands of employees depending on her, and she runs it into the ground. They lose billions. Hundreds of people get laid off. It's a horrible, horrible story of business failure. And it's her father's fault for forcing her to take over this instead of having a decent succession plan to find somebody else to take over. And it's her fault for taking on the responsibility that she clearly had no talent for whatsoever, and she runs the company into the ground. So much so that she takes her own billions that she got from her father and puts her own money into the company to keep it solvent. And eventually the housing crisis is over and people start building houses again. And the company, which is under a huge mountain of debt, has started to pay off its debts. So after 15 years, 10 years of really bad finances run by her and her father, and hundreds of people fired, people's lives destroyed, the company is finally starting to come out of the horrible woods. And what does she do? She spends, what was it, $5 million for 30 seconds? This is a 5-minute commercial. So she spends, $20, $30 million for one commercial on the Super Bowl. Have you ever seen a lot of lumber companies do commercials on the Super Bowl?
Never.
Yeah, exactly, because it's stupid. So she wastes 30, 40, not even counting how much the commercial costs to make, and you watch this thing, it's like an epic. It's like a Spielberg movie, okay? So she probably spent $50 million on a commercial on the Super Bowl, which hurt her company, and it was just as this company was starting to come out of the woods. So who knows how many more people she'll have to fire now that she's continued to run the company into the ground. So this is business failure writ large on our television screens. That's what this is all about. And as we saw last time when we talked about how Archie Comics is getting run into the ground, when you fail as a business person, one of the tactics they use is to suddenly become a liberal Democrat, because then the government will help you. Not this government, because this is Donald Trump's government, but the Democrat government will come out of the woodwork to help you. So if you're a business failure, just get all Democrat, mushy, touchy-feely, and you can paper over your crappy business decisions. It works for Hollywood all the time, but I don't think it's going to work for this lumber company. And that's the story behind the story. That's why this business failure, who got glowing press from the mainstream media for what she did, even though she's a business failure, and has ruined people's lives, she's going to get a pat on the back by the liberal media, and her failures in this business will keep on unabated. So if you, it's a private company, but if you were at all involved with 84 Lumber, now's the time to get out, because she obviously has not learned her lesson from trying to ruin the company before, and she's off and running again. So that's the deal.
Dang.
And all it takes is a couple Google searches to find out all this stuff, but none of the people who are talking about this commercial are going to dig into that except us, because we find out what's really going on.
You tell them. You tell them.
Gets
All
me
right,
fired
AJ.
up when an idiot CEO ruins the company, and she doesn't pay for it. She's going to be just fine. She's a billionaire. But all those poor people who work for her, they're going to pay for it. And all those illegal aliens that she's going to hire, that she has hired probably, they're going to pay for it too. Moving on.
All right, let's go to something also exciting. Okay, just kidding. So, Hollywood Talent Agency is going to stage a protest of President Trump. So UTA, which is one of the top talent agencies in Beverly Hills, is actually going to cancel their traditional Oscar party
Say it isn't so.
and will instead stage a protest rally in support of illegal immigration.
Ali, you and I work in Hollywood. We're all familiar with UTA, United Talent Agency. I think they've merged it with William Morris a couple years ago, so it's UTA WME, and then there's ICM, which is their big competitor. These are the giant talent agencies.
So they probably have people that are in the Oscars.
Oh, yes, yes. Absolutely, they have people who
But
are
they don't want to
Oscar
support
nominated.
them. They instead want to protest the president.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's the...
How many... No, go ahead.
I'm so flustered. Everyone is just such a hater. And I, being a hater saying that, but... I mean, I don't know. What are they just...
Well,
Stop.
if you and I happen to be bopping through Beverly Hills on January 24th, let's
Wait,
be
January?
Yes. Oh, excuse me.
February.
February.
I'm like, that was a couple weeks ago.
Must have been a typo. If we're bopping through Hollywood on February 24th, we should make sure to stop by the UTA office, because they're going to have a protest outside their office, just like Comcast did outside their office in Cleveland, Ohio, or someplace. It wasn't even here. Their main office is somewhere in the Midwest, but they gave their employees the afternoon off to go outside their building and protest Donald Trump. And UTA is going to do the same thing. Of course,
Jeez.
they don't hire any refugees at UTA.
No way.
In fact, if you're a Harvard business graduate, you're still going to work in the mailroom at UTA. So I'm dying to go over there.
You're gonna go.
On the slide.
Of course you're gonna go.
And see how many diverse immigrant refugee employees UTA has, because I've got a feeling it's going to be a very small number.
This kind of stuff gets you so fired up.
They're such hypocrites. They They want refugees to come and take your job and my job and the jobs of other hardworking Americans, but they're damn sure not going to come and take their job because somebody who doesn't speak English and is not in this country legally, they can't sign contracts, so they can't be an agent at UTA and make $1 million a year. So UTA, they can be all virtue signaling and say, look at how cool and liberal we are, but they don't want those people to take their jobs. They want them to come in and be slave labor. They want them to be their gardeners and their nannies and mow their lawns and wet nurse their children, but they don't want them to be actual full citizens. So they're a bunch of hypocrites. And UTA, if you're listening, I promise you I will be out there at your protest.
They are so going to be looking for you.
They better look for me because I'll be watching them. I watch the watchers.
I know you do.
It's such a... So, they're canceling their Oscar party. Wowee, big deal.
Were you invited?
I was not invited. But that's okay. I would have gone anyway. I would have gone so that I could tell you about what's going on out there. But I will not be going. And UTA, you're a bunch of hypocrites. You don't really care about these people. You're just using this to virtue signal, to show other Hollywood people how caring and sensitive you are, so that maybe some big star like JUDD APATOW will come and switch his and go to and be part of your agency now. That's all this is about. They're just trying to get very liberal Democrat clients, which is most of Hollywood.
Yikes.
So there we go.
Ripping the Band-Aid off.
We'll slap through this breaking news thing. I'll slap somebody if I have to.
I know you will.
We're tearing right through this thing.
All right.
All right, so we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
I probably depressed the hell out of everybody. And
Yep, you have a way with that.
That's what I do.
Saying.
That's what I do. Well, let's take a break now. Now that I've got
Okay.
everybody all depressed and sad, we'll take a little break.
Yes.
And when we come back, what will we be talking about?
Well, funny you should ask, because coming up on the AJ and Allie show, everyone, AJ and I are going to discuss Hollywood's rocky relationship with the NFL a little further than we've already discussed.
All right.
And we're trying to decide, are they friends, are they enemies, or are they frenemies?
Nice.
Stick around to find out next. The AJ and Allie show, where Hollywood myths get busted. How was that?
Excellent.
Thanks. Coming back. And we're back.
Nice. That was a good one.
I'm trying to keep it fresh.
I appreciate that. What did you do during the break? I went out and I washed my car. I wanted to get some dirt off.
Well, I had a snack.
Well, I hope your snack was delicious and healthy.
I could go for more.
Well, maybe at the next break you can.
I gotta tell you a little
back
side note here. Trader Joe's, they are always making amazing snacks, and they put them right there in the front. So when you're checking out, you're like, I don't need that crap, and then you're like, man, those look good, and he's like, oh, those are so good, you have to try them. And you're like looking at the cashier, looking at your like all of your stuff in your cart, and you're just like, what's one more thing? Then you go home and it changes your life.
Little rule that I live by in my life: never trust a guy in a Hawaiian shirt. That's all I'm saying.
You know what though? Those cookies I bought were so good that, in fact, in 2 days, my husband and I have nearly eaten the entire box, and I have to go back today and buy more.
All right, you're right. Trader Joe's is fantastic.
Yeah,
And obviously, we're never going to get their sponsorship because we're anti-Hollywood here for the most part. And they're a Hollywood staple, but
no,
they're fantastic.
I love them.
They are.
Hollywood Schmollywood. Okay.
Hollywood Schmollywood. And I always eat like organic stuff at Trader Joe's. They have organic animal crackers there. Have you tried
that
those?
is what's
They're
up.
Fantastic.
They're looking out for us.
Organic chocolate bars.
Come
at the front.
on.
I'm all over that. I just finished one before you came in today. So.
And I had those chocolate chip cookies, so
All
just
right, then.
think about that.
I'm thinking about it. No, I'm not, but I should. I'm not a chocolate chip cookie fan unless my wife is making them. She's got me spoiled.
Oh, well, that's
She's a baker.
that's our job.
Yes, well, she does a fine job.
All right.
So
everyone that we just made hungry, let's talk about the NFL.
I'm hungry for some truth, Allie.
Oh, geez. Here he goes.
And I'm going to lay down the truth.
All right.
Hollywood versus the NFL.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, it would seem at first glance that the Hollywood and the NFL would be perfect partners together because one is all about entertainment and one is all about sports entertainment, and it would seem like a natural synergy to combine those two things. But
You
in
think?
reality, you would think so. But the reality of the situation is Hollywood hates the NFL.
And how do you know such a thing?
Hollywood told me. I got her
Really?
drunk, and she told me.
Dang, well, did you ask any other questions, like when I'm getting my big break?
I asked that question, but I can't tell you. She swore me to secrecy.
Great.
So
you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a million to one shot. So
All
you're
right.
saying I got
No
a
big
shot. We'll talk about your career some other time.
Okay.
Hollywood hates the NFL. As proof of that, since the 1970s, when there were a rash of Hollywood movies about the NFL, since the 1970s, there have really only been like 4 movies about the NFL. Now, there have been movies about football that have football in it. For instance, Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
Right. It has football in it, but that's really a side story. It's about this sports agent. So I'll give that a half of an NFL. And honestly, doesn't make the NFL look very good, does it? Cuba Gooding Jr. playing a fantastic wide receiver gets screwed by his team, and Jerry Maguire, the sports agent, and all the people he interacts with, they're scumbags. So it doesn't make professional sports in general look very good. It definitely does not make football look very good. In fact, of the 4 movies that are really about the NFL since the 70s, only really one of them is a positive portrayal of the NFL, and that's the movie Draft Day that came out just a couple years ago, back in
2014?
2014. Kevin Costner. Good movie. Not great, but good. It's about Kevin Costner is the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, trying to scrape together a team and blah, and somehow the Browns still can't win a damn game. But whatever. It's the only really good movie that has a positive portrayal of the NFL. The other ones, Concussion, oh yeah, that was fabulous. Huge flop, by the way, for Sony. Was it Sony? Yes, it was Sony. A huge flop. Only made $34 million. That probably didn't even cover Will Smith's craft service budget. $34 million for a Will Smith movie. Huge publicity. They ran commercials for this on the NFL Network. Didn't matter. Huge flop. And it was anti-NFL. And there's a couple of, documentaries about it. You really have to go back to The Blind Side back in 2009, and that's not really a movie about the NFL either.
But what a great movie.
It was a great movie. Loved it. And that movie made the most of any movie that is about the NFL or tangentially about the NFL. But that's back in 2009. So, since the 70s, there's really only been 4 movies about the NFL. If Hollywood loves something, they make movies about it all the time. Racism. Hollywood loves racism. There's a racism movie every year. At least one, sometimes several. In fact, this year, I bet you didn't know this, astronauts were racist. There's a movie about how
Really?
astronauts were racist called Hidden Figures, about how 4 black women secretly saved the space program.
Huh.
We'll talk about
I heard
this.
that was good.
Yeah, we'll talk about this movie next week.
right.
It's all lies. It's all made up.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, the racism that these women supposedly face that they show in the movie, completely made up. Didn't happen at all.
How do you know everything?
Because I know Because
all
I
you do
look
is
in.
research.
I research these things. It's not too hard to find. But Hollywood makes a movie about racism every year. They make movies about slavery every year because they love racism. They love slavery. They love sexism.
I was going to say, what about like love? They do a lot of love.
No, not love. Sex. They make movies about sex. 50 Shades Darker, anyone, which is going to get its butt kicked by the Batman Lego movie.
I hope so. Why do they need to make another movie?
Because they have an agenda.
All right.
And
well,
part of their
I'm not gonna
agenda
go see it.
is that they hate the NFL. They made hardly any movies about it. Almost all the movies they've made about it since the 70s are demeaning and derogatory towards it. So why? Why do they hate the NFL so much? There's a couple theories about this. This is not just my theory. Other people have come up with this. And some of the theories are that Hollywood is jealous of the success of the NFL. We talked in the last segment about how 11.3 million people watched the NFL. How many people do you think watched the Oscars, which would be the Super Bowl of the Hollywood?
Never thought about that
Like
before.
20 million. It's a fraction of the amount of people that watches the Super Bowl. So they can't get crowds as big as the Super Bowl. And there's a jealousy factor there. Also, people think of NFL players as heroes, even if they're not. You know, the lowest ranking person on the LA Rams can go to a store today and sign autographs. The guy who played an extra in the movie Concussion could not get arrested today. He certainly couldn't go to a store and sign autographs. Not many people are even going to come out for Will Smith to sign autographs anymore. But being on an NFL team, you get instant recognition. And people give you a lot of credit and respect. And Hollywood hates that these professional athletes get that, and they don't. And the third thing is they get paid a lot more than the average Hollywood actor. The average NFL person, the average salary for an NFL person is $2.1 million.
That must be nice.
The average salary for a SAG actor, they don't even make enough money to pay their SAG dues, which is like $3,000.
Jeez.
So the average SAG actor does not make $3,000. The average player in the NFL makes $2.1 million. So respect, money, and audience, the three things that the NFL has in droves, although they're screwing it up lately. Hollywood doesn't have it at all. So there's definitely a good amount of evidence that Hollywood is jealous of the NFL, but I think it's something deeper. And this is my theory. Nobody else has advanced this theory, so you're going to get this theory just from us. No one else has ever talked about this, but we're going to break it down to you. And I think the jealousy is part of it, but this is what the real deal is. Are you ready?
I hope so.
I'm about to blow your socks off right here.
Oh,
this is
geez.
gonna go crazy.
All right, I'm ready.
The NFL and professional sports in general are a meritocracy. That means no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, no matter how tall you are, no matter if you have a disability, you are judged by the same standards, and those standards are demanding and exacting. If you cannot run 40 yards in under 5 seconds, you are not going to play football in the NFL. And they don't give a damn if you have 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, if your legs are black, if your legs are brown, they don't care. Everybody is held to the exact same standards. There is no affirmative action in the NFL. Never has been. In Hollywood, if you're a member of a special protected class, African Americans, immigrants, homosexuals, transgendered, they will go out of their way to give you special treatment. They won't give you a job, but they'll go out of their way to act like they care more about you than the average person. Hollywood is not a meritocracy. It's who you know and who owes you and who likes you. There are no objective standards to get a job in Hollywood. You can be the best actor in history, James Woods, but you're never going to get a job unless your politics are right and unless people like you. The NFL, people don't give a damn if they like you. There are some miserable
really
rat
don't.
bastard people in the NFL who are fantastic football players, and they will get millions of dollars.
Dang.
And this is why Hollywood hates the NFL, because it gives the lie to all of the BS that Hollywood pumps out about how black people and gay people and Hispanic people and immigrants need special treatment. Because when the NFL doesn't give anybody special treatment, they make more black millionaires than have ever been made by Hollywood in 1 year in the NFL. 32 teams, 53 people on a team, $2.1 million average salary, and
That is so much
70%
money.
of the NFL is black. 70%. I can't do the math in my head, but that's like 1,000 black millionaires every single year come out of the NFL.
And you think Hollywood hates that?
Yeah, because they can't turn out 1 black millionaire a year in Hollywood. Maybe 2. Maybe Denzel and Will Smith. They're going to be the 2 black millionaires that'll get $1 million from Hollywood this year, but that's it. Because Hollywood, run by mostly white people, thinks that black people need a handout. And the NFL says, no, they need a challenge. They need
I love that.
standards, and the NFL is right. And the NFL's meritocracy proves that Hollywood is racist by not expecting the same amount from black people that they do from other races. So, NFL shows that Hollywood are the real racists, because if you give a level playing field with no special treatment, black people excel. Black people dominate. If you give them handouts, they don't do as well. And that's the secret that Democrats and Hollywood have known for a long time. That's why they give them handouts, special awards, special consideration, because they don't want to compete on a level playing field, because they think that blacks will beat them, because they do in the NFL and every other sports. And the military. There's no special treatment based on race in the military. There are black generals, there are black colonels. Not in Hollywood, baby. There ain't no black generals and colonels there. That's why AJ says that Hollywood hates the NFL, because they put to the lie that the Hollywood cares about multiculturalism. They're not. They're racist. You want to be not racist, even playing field, everybody competes, black people will dominate. They've dominated every industry where they've been on a level playing field, and Hollywood fears that. That's why Tyler Perry's never going to get an Academy Award, because he's a successful black filmmaker who did it without Hollywood's help. That's why Hollywood hates the NFL.
That is quite the conspiracy theory, AJ.
Not a theory, it's fact.
All right, well, I feel like I need to go and research African American actors and see if anyone else will be breaking the $1 million budget this year.
It would be very interesting to see how, well, number one, hardly any actors make that, or directors. Hardly anybody in Hollywood gets $1 million paycheck anyway. It doesn't matter who they are. But I can't count on my hand more than 3 or 4 African American actors, writers, producers. They could command $1 million salary a year. But there are at least 40 of them on every single NFL team. Every year. So.
Gosh, I mean, the NFL is just something else.
So what will Hollywood do? Because they hate them, because the NFL is more successful, because the NFL helps black people 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times more than Hollywood, what will they do? What do you think they'll do, Allie?
Who knows? I didn't know this was such a thing.
This is what Hollywood will do.
They're going to make a movie.
They'll do what they do with everything that they hate.
Uh-oh, there's my boyfriend. Scroll up, please. Thank you.
Hollywood will attempt to infiltrate and destroy the NFL, which is what they do with everything that they don't like. They infiltrate it and they destroy it. They attempt to. And that's what Hollywood is doing to the NFL, and that's why, in my opinion, the NFL ratings are going down. They will continue to go down. It's choices that they've made because Hollywood people are invading the NFL. You want proof? This ain't a conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. NFL names Jordan Levin Chief Content Officer in 2015. What did he do before that? Oh, well, he ran Xbox Studios for Microsoft. Into the ground before Microsoft closed it. What did he do before that? Oh, he worked in Hollywood. He was a programming executive. Gee whiz. Golly, he ran the WB into the ground. And then it turned into the CW and he split. So this failure in Hollywood now is the NFL's chief content officer. He's the guy who chooses who gets to perform at the halftime show every year. Mr. Hollywood right here, who brings his Hollywood sensibilities to the NFL. Something that he probably never enjoyed before he became part of the NFL. Now this Hollywood guy, this Hollywood business dude, who's a failure in Hollywood, is going to tell you NFL people what you should like and what you shouldn't.
I'm going to just sidebar you really quick and say that Gaga impressed me.
She did. And I was very surprised because I thought she was going to come out for a Bashorama, but she didn't.
She did not.
They put the kibosh on her politics, which is good. She showed how it should be done. But you know what? We shouldn't have to watch Lady Gaga at the halftime show at all because she is not the NFL's audience. We have to go way back.
That's really true, huh?
We have to go way back. Let's take a look at the NFL halftime shows over the last couple years.
I fell right into your trap.
We have to go way back to find an NFL halftime show that actually reflects the real audience of the people who watch NFL games every week. And we got to go way back to, let's see, I would say 2003 is really the last time there was an artist who did the halftime show that your average NFL fan watches, and that would be Shania Twain. Now, they also had No Doubt and Sting there as well.
I think Sting well rounds it.
You know what? Guys who work blue collar are not listening to Sting in their off time. They're not. They might listen to the Police back in the day, but they're not listening to Sting. So, and that's just a sort of 2003. They sort of did it right. We got to go all the way back till we find an honest. Oh, there we go. Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, excuse me.
That was
Travis Tritt and
up.
the Judge. Good thing we're on the internet. What year do you think they performed at the Super Bowl?
Well, I can tell you because I see it.
94 in Georgia, of course. That's the
South.
last time that a solid country block of artists performed.
So you think the NFL is country?
Well, I think the core audience likes country a lot more than they like Lady Gaga.
I gotcha.
Now, why does this happen? Well, because, like I said, Hollywood people have infiltrated. And this guy that we talked about, Jordan Levin, he's recent. He only came to be in charge of NFL content in 2015. But since the year 2000, the Super Bowl halftime shows have been produced by a guy named Tony Kirshner. And ever since Tony Kirshner has produced the NFL halftime show, they have been very not NFL audience acts. Janet Jackson, Katy Perry, Beyonce,
Britney
Spears, Bruno Mars. The only one that I would say is sort of an NFL audience is The Who or Bruce Springsteen. But all the other acts that this guy has ever done since the year 2000, 17 years, they've all been not NFL acts. They've been Hollywood, big Hollywood acts. And guess what else Tony Kirshner does when he's not doing the NFL halftime show?
He's a singer.
No.
That wouldn't have surprised me.
He produces the Tony Awards. That's it. That's all he does. He does the Tonys and he does the NFL halftime show. And if I'm sitting there at the NFL offices and I'm saying to myself, we got a bunch of blue-collar rednecks that are going to watch this game. What organization should we bring in to help produce the halftime show? Country music legends? No. Monster truck rally? No. Let's get the Tonys. Yes, a bunch of homosexuals singing and dancing. The guy who does that show, get him. No. Ever since they've brought in this guy, the acts have not been what I would consider NFL quality, and they're losing their audience. People are tuning out at halftime because the people who watch football don't care about Beyonce.
I wasn't going to watch Lady Gaga, to be honest.
Neither was I.
And then I was like, she's on the roof.
which was
she,
taped. It was faked. They faked
right,
it.
but then she played pretty. There were no political jabs as rumored.
Yeah, the songs themselves were their political jabs. Born This Way, about how you can't blame me because I'm gay, because I was born this way.
But they were also her biggest songs.
Right, they're her biggest songs, and I get that, and that's fine. She could have been a lot worse. In fact, other Hollywood Democrats are giving her a load of junk on social media for not being more political.
Oh, stop it.
Exactly, and I'm glad she held it in check. But Hollywood is now has infiltrated the NFL. They're turning its core audience against it. And until they reject that, until they do things, go back and embrace their core audience, their ratings are going to continue to slide. Go take a look at the Tony Awards, okay? They don't have very good ratings at all, and even they've been going down. The Academy Awards ratings have been going down. The Hollywood feel, the Hollywood vibe does not sell in the rest of the country, and it doesn't sell very much around the world anymore either. They need to straighten up. They need to stop being so left-wing political. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I think they're gonna fight that as long as they can, and it's probably gonna drag the NFL ratings down even more next year. That's my prediction.
Yikes.
But there we go. Hollywood,
Right.
the NFL.
Frenemies.
I would say frenemies.
I'm going to go with frenemies as
exactly
well.
right. All right. Well, that was interesting.
To say the least.
Yes, we need to take a break now, and
We
then
do.
what are we going to do when we come back after
All right,
that?
well, up next, we add another name to your favorite segment, to the Hall of Shame, to find out which so-called celebrity nailed the audition, I see what you did there, for this week's Ugly Democrat. Ladies and gentlemen, the AJ and Allie Show, making Hollywood safe for conservatives since 2016.
That's not long.
I know that. That's why I used my inflection that way.
We'll work on it.
Okay. We'll be right back. And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Whoa, I was way too close to the microphone for that one.
That was very assertive. I like that.
Thank you. I was commanding the stage.
You know, Allie, when you're reading these scripts that I have for you, you're supposed to pretend like that's just you. You're not supposed to, like, let on that I wrote that
Right.
crap.
But, AJ, with all due respect, everyone listening knows who the mastermind is.
No. You had them fooled. You had them fooled right up until the end there.
Well, because that one is your favorite segment.
Yes, but that's true. But you are so good at reading these things. Just go with it. Just fake it. Fake it till you make it.
I would keep faking it if you didn't just tell everyone our little secret.
You dropped the bomb
I
earlier.
know,
There's
I
no way I
did.
could keep that lie going.
It's all right.
All right.
It's Hollywood.
All right. Well, that's the ugly truth, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
and,
see what you did there.
and now we're going to talk about something very ugly.
Oh, gosh.
Now, Ali thinks this is my favorite segment, and
It is.
it really isn't.
Okay.
It really isn't. I live for the day that I run out of names to add to the list of ugly Democrats. I live for that day. Today is not that day.
All right.
Unfortunately, there are still plenty of Hollywood Democrats vying for the title of ugliest Democrat. But we've got an excellent candidate for the position today, and that would be JUDD APATOW. Now, I have to confess that I really used to like this guy, and I used to like his movies. But as we've seen with other ugly Democrats who we've profiled, as his career has kind of cooled off, he has gotten farther and farther down the road of being an angry political activist. In fact, if you look at JUDD APATOW's Twitter feed, it's hard to imagine how he gets any writing done, because he seems to be tweeting every 5 minutes. And I don't know what your feelings are about social media, but I try to do it as little as possible
Me too.
because it's a time suck. And it's very hard to justify that it in any way helps your bottom line or makes your life better. Because people are usually arguing with you. And especially if you say something controversial like this tool JUDD APATOW does all the time. And he's supposed to be funny. He's a writer. He wrote The 40-Year-Old Virgin. He wrote Knocked Up, which are two movies that I enjoyed. But honestly, he's not funny anymore. Maybe he's lost it. You're familiar with the Beatles, right? You've heard of the rock group The Beatles. Well, at one point, the Beatles got all mixed up with, like, Indian mysticism, and they went to, like, India and studied in an ashram with the Swamis, and they came back, and George Harrison, who was the lead guitarist for the Beatles, he said when he came back after studying Eastern mysticism in India and in the East, he said he couldn't play guitar anymore. He could only play slide guitar when he came back from studying. So all of his music after that, he's playing the slide guitar because he couldn't do it anymore. Well, maybe JUDD APATOW had his... Maybe he can't play the guitar anymore. Maybe he's just not funny anymore. Maybe he realizes that he's not funny anymore. So he spends his day on Twitter tweeting out mean and obnoxious things, primarily at Donald Trump and his family. But If you happen to be a Donald Trump supporter, he'll come after you too. He's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, lives in the Hollywood Hills, married to a beautiful woman, and he's angry. And I don't understand why. He has millions of dollars, a beautiful wife, but he's bitter, baby. And if you cross him by saying anything nice about Donald Trump, he will come after you. And he will want violence to happen to you.
Has he done that already?
He hasn't, as far as I can tell, he hasn't inflicted violence on anybody, but Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a gay, outspoken conservative commentator who I met at the Republican convention last year. Milo is on tour, speaking at college campuses across the country. He went to Berkeley, which, for those of you who don't know, Berkeley, crazy liberal psycho-democrat stronghold. He went to Berkeley. Rioters trashed the campus, tried to kill Milo, set fire to things, threw explosives at things, smashed windows, assaulted Trump supporters who were coming to see Milo speak. It was horrible. Judd Apatow tweets out, yeah, well, they got what they deserved, and they better look out because we told them this was going to happen. So,
jeez,
we're looking at his tweet. His exact tweet is, because I don't want to get the quote wrong. After the riots at Berkeley, where Trump supporters were assaulted, where property was vandalized, where fires were set, police had to come in riot gear with rubber bullets to break up the rioters. People were arrested, went to jail. He said, and I quote, "This is just the beginning. When will all the fools who are still supporting Trump realize what is at stake?" He is telling Trump supporters that they are going to get beaten up if they keep doing what they're doing, because that's what happened at Berkeley. Judd Apatow is not just a Democrat. He is an ugly Democrat. And that's maybe one of the most horrible things that he said, but it's certainly not the meanest thing he said. He called Trump's children, who by all accounts are the most decent, honest, upstanding billionaire children in history. He said that a picture of Trump's three oldest children standing together, this is his Twitter quote, "Billionaires are outsiders. This is a Menendez Brothers biopic poster. The Menendez brothers murdered their parents." So he's saying that Trump children are going to murder Donald Trump. This is a Hollywood meme that's been generated for a while. A lot of Hollywood people have been talking about Trump's children are going to murder Trump. Saturday Night Live had a writer that you and I talked about a couple weeks ago who said a very similar thing. Trump's youngest son, Barron, is going to be a homeschool murderer. Yeah, that's fabulous. So these Hollywood scumbags think that it's cool to make jokes, and I'm using the air quotes for jokes because they're not funny. They're not jokes. They're making mean, horrible comments about Trump's children murdering him because that's what they secretly fantasize should happen. These millionaires who are famous and live in Beverly Hills and have big mansions and beautiful wives and husbands, they're bitter about a man who is better than them and about his children who are better than them.
Sad, sad, sad.
It is sad. We can take a look at Judd Apatow's box office earnings for the movies that he's written and directed and acted in. There's one big trend, and that trend is, if we sort by date, the man peaked in 2007. 2007 was his biggest year. Knocked Up, the movie that he wrote and directed, earned $148 million. Now, still not even close to a really big hit, but it was his biggest hit. $148 million 10 years ago. He has been downhill ever since. Now, say what you want, but this is a clear indication that it's time for Hollywood people to move to the left. When their career starts tanking, a lot of them say, well, I'm going to become the craziest Democrat possible because all of the studios, all the Hollywood studios are owned and controlled by big Democrats who give tons of money to the Democrat Party. So these failing directors, these actors, directors, celebrities whose careers are on the down slope, say, you know what? it's easier to write mean tweets on Twitter than it is to write a hit movie. So I'm
Dang.
just going to be mean to Donald Trump, and that'll keep me working in Hollywood. That's all this is about. He is...
Well, let's see if he keeps working.
Yeah, let's see if he... Well, he's still working right now, although he posts on Twitter so much it's hard to believe he gets any work done. But maybe other people. Maybe he steals work from other people. So another reason that I despise Judd Apatow, besides the fact that he's a despicable human being, is he forced Lena Dunham on us. And Lena Dunham will probably next week will be a member of the Ugly Democrat club. She's a horrible, horrible person. Even more so than Judd Apatow, which is hard to do. But Judd Apatow, quote unquote, discovered Lena Dunham and forced her on us. Made her a star, made her a celebrity. And so that's just another reason not to like him. So he attacks Trump viciously. He attacks conservatives horribly. He forced Lena Dunham on us. His career is going down. And he uses his position to get women. Let's take a look at how Judd Apatow met his wife, Leslie Mann. Now, this is not me making this up. This is an article in Us Magazine, and I'm going to read a little quote here. It was love at first sight for Judd Apatow. In the latest issue of Elle, the mega successful, that's their words, not mine, director and producer Knocked Up Bridesmaids reveals he's always had the hots for Leslie Mann, his wife of 15 years. The two met when Mann auditioned for The Cable Guy in '96, which Apatow co-wrote and produced. There goes the future Miss Apatow, the filmmaker recalls himself saying, I had a soul connection instantly. I meant it. That's why I remember it. Surprise, surprise, I'm injecting here. Mann, 40, did not feel the same way. I was in a panic. Auditioning is so nerve-wracking, though she had a crush on the film's director, Ben Stiller. The actress agreed to have dinner with Apatow, because that's how you get a job, at his place before attending a basketball game. So this dirtbag, Judd Apatow, auditions an actress, takes her out to dinner.
Doesn't take her out to dinner.
Takes her to his place.
And you stopped at the best part. They ate, quote, spaghetti with ragu sauce and Wonder Bread with whatever that word is.
Fleischmann's.
Margarine. That... I mean, doesn't he have butlers?
He's just a dirtbag. And, Allie, I know being a working actress and model in Hollywood, you've bumped into people, men, who use the audition process to find dates. I know you have. Because every woman who works in Hollywood has bumped into men who use the audition process to find dates. This is the man attacking Donald Trump's wonderful children. A man who had to audition his future wife and apparently convince her that the guy that she really liked was not good enough. He was the right guy. So I'm just like, that's it. That's the final. That makes all of Judd Apatow's hate and venom for Donald Trump and for conservatives and other people who have, moral integrity. That's why he hates them, because he ain't them. He is a dirtbag who uses his job to force women to go out on dates with him. If he really was a decent guy, he would have said, you know what, that actress, she's really awesome and I want to date her, but I can't employ her because I don't sleep with my employees. But he didn't do that. He said, I'm going to employ her and I'm going to have sex with her. And poor Leslie Mann, she had to make the choice that all actresses have to make. Do I sleep with with the guy I'm trying to get cast with, or do I stand on my principles? And I'm pretty damn sure if she had stood on her principles, she wouldn't be his wife and she wouldn't have got the part. So thank you, Judd Apatow. Your words have condemned you because your actions reveal who you really are. I know why you hate Trump now, because he's a decent guy and you're a scumbag. Congratulations, Judd Apatow. You are AJ and Allie's Ugly Democrat of the Week.
Dang.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
That's a lot. I was Just listening and reading. I can't get the spaghetti with ragu sauce and Wonder Bread.
Yeah, Wonder Bread and Fleischmann's margarine. He's classy. He's this close to being a top chef.
I love that they say in the rest of this article that she spent the night, but nothing happened.
Of course.
They just kissed a lot.
Because, let me read between the lines. Because she found him reprehensible and was hoping that she could just get the part and not have to sleep with him. Apparently that.
But now they have
happen.
2 kids.
Yeah, and this is the killer. She, quote unquote, loves him so much. She didn't take his name, did she? She's still Leslie Mann. She's not Leslie APATOW after 15 years.
Oh, and this whole article is about, there goes the future Mrs. APATOW.
Yeah, he fell in love the first time she met her. He knew nothing about her except that she was hot. That's it. I'm sorry. The guy's a dirtbag. He is every nerd who couldn't get laid in high school, who said, I'm going to show him. I'm going to go to Hollywood and become a successful producer, and then gorgeous actresses will want to have sex with me because I'll hold their career in my hands. Oh, fantastic. That is this guy.
Well, let's hope he's changed his ways.
He has not changed his ways. I hope he will. This is what we're going to do.
Man.
We're going to try and end this, because the Ugly Democrat segment is tough, but we're going to try and end it on a positive note. We're going to pray that Judd sees the error of his ways, takes the anger out of his heart, starts being a decent human being, and if he does that, I will be the first one to say we have to remove him from the list of ugly Democrats. I believe in redemption.
We will hold you to it.
I believe in redemption. Judd can redeem himself. Hopefully he will. Maybe he will listen to us speaking about him and realize in his heart that he has done wrong.
I think he's going to be mad you attacked him. He's coming after you, AJ.
If he does, I will wear it as a badge of honor because he is a dirtbag. And he's a multi-million-dollar dirtbag that the Hollywood media will fawn over, but he's not a good person. If he was my son, I would straighten him out.
All right.
He needs straightening out. Hopefully he'll learn. I'll pray. I will say a prayer tonight that Judd Apatow will redeem himself.
I hope you do.
And that's all I can do.
That's all you can do.
And there
well,
we go.
dang, I think we need to move on. I'm like already ready for the good news segment.
but we're gonna I think the next segment will be better. What's coming up next?
Well, coming up next on the AJ and Allie show, it is my favorite, our final segment where I get to deliver the good news of the week.
I think
and as
skipped
usual,
over.
AJ tries to shoot holes in it. You're laughing because it's true.
I think you have skipped over a part. Did I not put a part in here?
Oh, you did. You know what? I decided that I was going to run the show, so we're going to skip everything you wanted to talk about, and we're just going to go to the good news.
All right. So
no, we can't do that.
Let's go back. So, Allie,
hold on.
So, Allie, tell me what's coming up next.
So, guys, coming up next, AJ and I are going to share with you the secret health trick that all of the top celebrities use, and I'm intrigued.
That's a hell of a tease. It's completely untrue, but it sounds good. So
okay.
come back, and we'll tell you all about it.
All right, and hey guys, this is the AJ and Allie show. If you've got the time, you know we've got the talent. And we're back!
Yay! We're back! I've been rejuvenated. I'm happy again.
Are you?
Yes.
You must have found those chocolate chip cookies, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But, you know, it's very cathartic to flush out, you know, the bad. And I feel like I've exorcised the bad demons now. And now we can move on and we can talk about good stuff.
All right, let's go. Tell me something good, AJ.
You know, it's not all bad news in Hollywood. There are some things that Hollywood does right. And I am not a hater. When they do something right, I will say that they do something right.
All right, let's do it.
And healthy living is one of the things that Hollywood does right. Now,
I will commend that.
It's a little bit hypocritical because they also do crazy sexual things and they also take a lot of drugs. But there are I would say there's a large percentage of people here in Southern California who take their health very seriously.
I would be one of them, minus all my chocolate chip cookie rants.
Well, as long as they're organic, they're not bad for you.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about organic chocolate and why it's wonderful for you. And maybe we'll bring in some to sample. You look like you're having a good time with that beef jerky over
I
there.
am,
How's
thank
that
you.
beef jerky?
I
That
need
is-
snacks.
That is organic beef jerky.
It is delicious.
Right off. I killed the cow myself.
All right.
I
Too
didn't
much.
do that.
All
All right.
I'd rather not picture that.
But I would if I
All
could.
right.
If there was
I
a place I
appreciate
could kill a cow and eat it, I would.
All right.
I'm a modern
Well,
caveman.
All right.
So that is one of the things that Hollywood does right. And I learned this working in Hollywood, working with some of the top people, which I've done for almost 20 years. They almost always are very selective about what they eat, what they drink, and what they ingest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that struck me as very strange is that, and I never saw this before I came to Hollywood. There is this toothpaste called Tom's toothpaste. Have
Yeah.
you heard of Tom's?
I sure have.
Tom's toothpaste, it has several different varieties. And again, we're not getting paid any money from Tom's or anybody else. No one wants us. But Tom's toothpaste is one of the toothpastes that you can get that doesn't have fluoride.
Okay.
And, I saw my friend, big Hollywood producer, with his toothpaste. He brushed his teeth after every meal. And I was like, no fluoride in toothpaste. How are you going to protect your teeth? It doesn't make any sense. And he said, trust me, fluoride is bad for you. And I was like, this guy's crazy. He was crazy.
Okay.
But I thought he was
something
wrong.
tells me.
I thought he was wrong. But
Turns out he's not.
I was intrigued. And before I came to Hollywood, I actually studied chemical engineering at a large university before I dropped out and went to film school and disappointed my parents greatly.
More on that later.
Yes, so I knew that the active ingredient in Crest toothpaste, which is what I use, was sodium monofluorophosphate. And I said, let's look it up. Maybe, I really wanted to show this guy up. And I wanted to show them that since I had a knowledge of chemistry and studied chemical engineering, I could show him that fluoride was good for you, that it wasn't bad for you. And then he would say, wow, AJ's really knowledgeable. I want to keep him around and work for me. Well,
That
it
didn't
turns
happen,
out that fluoride in tiny amounts can be beneficial, but in long term, it's bad for you. And this isn't, like we say all the time, we don't deal in conspiracy theory here, Allie. We deal in fact. And when I looked this up, Harvard University did a study that concluded without any shadow of a doubt that fluoride in children led to neurological problems.
Wow.
It causes brain abnormalities in children. So putting fluoride in water that is drunk by children, or in toothpaste that is used by children, or any of the other products that have fluoridated water in them for children is harmful. Not could be harmful, it is harmful. And there's no doubt. This is not some fly-by-night organization making up this. This is Harvard. If you can't trust Harvard medical students, medical school, you can't trust anybody. Harvard has the data. It's bad for children. How much is bad is the only level of debate. Now, fluoride occurs naturally in groundwater in a lot of places. So fluoride is already in a lot of water in the United States, but there are areas where fluoride is not in the water, and they add it to the water. Now, whether or not you think that the amount that they're adding is a safe amount or not, should government really be putting medicine in your water?
No,
They don't put
sir.
antibiotics in your water. They don't put steroids in your water. Why did it become acceptable for the government to put fluoride, which is a medicine, supposed to help make your teeth stronger? Why should they put that medicine in and not other medicines? Well, you trace back and you find out that there was quite a controversy about whether or not they should put water in fluoride in the water or not. And the fluoride proponents won by basically lobbying Congress and spending a bunch of money to get these laws passed. But the evidence that was helpful was dubious. And the level at which it is helpful and not harmful is under dispute. So whether or not, so if you think that fluoride is good for you, you should add it to your own water. You should not demand that the government add it to everyone's water. So this producer, Mr. Big, he was right. Fluoride was bad for you. And the amount of fluoride that you have in your toothpaste and in your water is not that much, but over 40 years, it actually builds up in your body and causes fluorosis, which is, it actually replaces the calcium in your teeth and in your bones with fluoride. So fluoride is not as good as calcium.
So now you're using Tom's.
Well, yes, I started off using Tom's, and I was nervous because my dentist was like, no, you should still use fluoride. The dentist is still pumping this fluoride thing. And I've used it for years now. I have not had any cavities. I have not had any gum disease or any problems like that. Non-fluoride toothpaste is just as effective for me as fluoride toothpaste. In fact, every cavity I've ever had that had to be filled, I got when I was using fluoride toothpaste. And if you look into it, fluoride, even though it replenishes minerals in your teeth, it doesn't replenish as strong as the normal calcium. So I actually drink milk and take vitamin D and do other things to build up my bones and my teeth. I do not use fluoride at all. I filter my water. I do not use fluoride toothpaste. I don't use anything that has fluoridated water in it.
Interesting.
Now here's the tricky part. If you know, and I urge the people out there, do your own investigation. I'm not your scientist. This data is easy to find. The Harvard study, it's right there on the Harvard University's website. But if you want to cut fluoride out of your diet, and just try it, like I did. I tried it, and I was like, if I get 12 cavities, I'm putting the fluoride back in. If you want to get the fluoride out of your water, the toothpaste is easy. Just buy Tom's. There are a bunch of other brands that don't have fluoride now. I don't actually use Tom's anymore. I use a different brand that doesn't have sodium lauryl sulfate in it either, which is a chemical they put in toothpaste to make it foamy. And I don't want that either. So I use a SLS and a fluoride-free toothpaste, which I won't talk about the brand because I don't want to get into trouble. But anyway, so I use a toothpaste without fluoride, and I filter my water. But the first thing I did when I said, well, I got to filter my water now, I went out and bought one of those Brita pitchers, the Brita filters. Brita does not filter fluoride. Does not. You go right to their website and it says quite clearly, our Brita filter takes out a tiny fraction of the fluoride. They are still pushing on the Brita website that fluoride is good for you and good for your children. It's not. But they're still pushing that. And so they're saying, don't worry, we're not getting rid of any of that lovely fluoride in the water. You need that fluoride. No, they're saying that because they don't have filter technology. They can filter fluoride. Fluoride is much more difficult to get out of water than bad smells and the other things that Brita filters out. So they don't have technology in Brita to filter fluoride. That's why they're saying it's still good for you. It's another financial, they don't want to retool. Now there are more expensive filters from other brands. I get mine as ProPure, P-R-O-P-U-R. It's a tongue twister. That's the brand of filter I use. It's much more expensive than a Brita filter. It filters everything that the Brita does and 10 times more. ProPure is the one that I use, and I'm very happy with it. That filters fluoride and everything else that Brita does. But it's much more expensive. Brita, it's cheap, but it doesn't filter fluoride. So if you want to filter fluoride, you have to make sure that the filter you're using does that. And it's always more expensive to get a fluoride filter. But it has helped me a great deal. And
thanks for sharing that, AJ.
I don't need any cognitive impairment. There are some estimates that say if you drink fluoride water and have fluoride in your toothpaste, you lose 10 IQ points. I can't afford to lose 10 IQ points.
Or me.
I need every single IQ point I have.
I hear you on that.
So this segment, hopefully we can help people. We're going to talk about healthy stuff in this segment. And,
Good.
Because I definitely have become healthier living out here in Hollywood. I
would say I have too.
I don't do drugs and all that stuff, so I don't have to worry about that. But the healthy living practices that I've picked up from some of my Hollywood friends, they might seem wacky, But once I looked into them, there was sound science behind them. And the fluoride thing is one of those things. If you're happy with fluoride, God bless. Read this article on the Harvard website about fluoride and neurological development in your children. At the very least, you should not be giving fluoride to your children.
Yes.
I definitely would say children do not use fluoride. Adults, maybe it's too late for you, but your children should not use fluoride. And there we go.
Right.
And that's what I think about that.
I appreciate it.
I'm here to help. We're public service here at the AJ
We
Show.
are. Well, that was a lot more lighthearted than the Ugly Democrats section.
I hope so.
I think so. I mean, it's still questionable, Now we got a lot to think about, and I guess I gotta go buy some new toothpaste. But
this is the crazy thing. It's almost the same exact price as toothpaste with fluoride. So it's not like it's 10 times more expensive. It's like it's a tiny bit more expensive. It's not double the price. It's no big deal.
Challenge accepted.
Out here in California, where everything's more expensive anyway, it's
telling
not that big a deal.
Yep.
Tom's toothpaste, they still have sodium lauryl sulfate in there, so I don't use Tom's anymore. But the fluoride is the big key. Got to get the fluoride out.
All right, good
it's
to know.
actually hurting your bones and teeth. You don't want that. You want good bones, Allie.
I know.
You're such a tall person.
I got to hold up this figure.
You got to worry about your bones.
Yeah, and especially as a woman, right?
There's 206 bones in your body. You got to protect them.
I am taking care of all 206, I hope.
Oh, yeah. What about that nose? Did you ever have a nose job?
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I'm looking at your nose now. I'm wondering, have you ever had rhinoplasty?
I appreciate that. I actually hate it. But thanks for bringing it up.
You're cute as a button. You're like a little bunny rabbit over there.
No.
Get out of here.
No.
That's a nose
now
with
it's awkward.
character.
No, I'm kidding. No, I would never have surgery, knock on wood.
What if you're dying?
Yeah, but I'm saying
gunshot?
I wouldn't be having some kind of plastic surgery or something of that. I'm just afraid of... I hate going to the doctor anyway. Why would I want them to cut me open and change my face of all things?
Or stuff 2 bags of salt water in your breast.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
what's that
I'm
all
good.
about?
I don't need that. I'm married. He's happy. I'm happy. It's fine.
Moving right along.
All right. Well, coming up next on the AJ and Allie show.
Somehow we're talking about your breasts all of a
No,
sudden.
you brought it up.
No, I didn't.
Play the tape. Okay.
I'll play it back. You said you're married and he's happy.
I said, why would I need to, as you put it, stuff 2 salt water bags in my chest?
I was giving an example of unnecessary surgery.
Correct.
Yes.
Just like a nose job. Depends.
Not your nose job.
Yeah, I'm good.
Not your breasts. I was talking about in general.
Okay.
Your husband's a very big guy, and
I know,
I'm wiry,
careful.
but I think it would be a very difficult fight for me to take him. So let's not go home and tell your husband that we're talking about your breasts on the show.
Yeah, well, you're right. He's a big guy.
I'm not Judd Apatow. Okay.
Okay, you just calm down over there.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult from here on out.
All right, guys, coming up next.
What's coming up next?
On the AJ and Allie show, it is, I know you can't believe it, but our final segment.
Oh, no. We just got
I get to deliver the good news of the week, and as usual, AJ tries to shoot holes in it.
It won't be hard.
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
It's the AJ and Allie show. We've got your battle of the network stars right here, folks. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
Ooh, that was exciting. I'm excited now.
Oh, good. Well, I have some good news for everyone, and I would love to share it.
Is it about your toothpaste?
No.
Is it about Judd Apatow?
No, not yet. Anyways.
Okay.
All right, so the first good thing that I'd like to share, even though this is kind of bittersweet for me, the Patriots won.
Yay! I don't know why I'm cheering because
I don't either.
As a football team, I don't like the Patriots. I'm not a fan of the Patriots NFL-wise. I don't root for the Patriots. Let's just say that.
All right, well, neither did I. But let me start over there.
Please. She does this professionally.
Oh my gosh.
Don't worry.
It was a historic comeback, folks. The New England Patriots.
You are just chomping through this.
Why?
I don't know. Clear your mind. Close your eyes. I want you to take yourself to a happy place.
I can't. I have to talk about the Patriots.
Okay.
All right, so let's just move on from that. The New England New England?
You're not going to get
What is
through
in this
this.
beef jerky? Did you give me drugs? Okay, the New England Patriots. I'm going to make it through this.
Okay.
They scored 31 unanswered points to win their 5th Super Bowl.
Nice.
But I just want to point out that Pittsburgh has 6. Okay. Hollywood Democrats who had taken to social media during the halftime to mock Tom Brady and his friendship with President Trump were then forced to eat crow when Brady rallied his team to victory in overtime. And man, was that quick, huh? Like, what, 2 minutes into overtime?
Yeah, the Patriots only had 3 points until like there were 4 minutes left in the third quarter. They didn't really even start playing until just about the last quarter.
Not even, probably the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
5.
So, and then they scored all their points. 31 unanswered points, won the game. It was amazing. And so many people, including Judd Apatow, probably, were on social media and Twitter talking smack about the Patriots that were getting beat because they were the owner of the Patriots and Tom Brady and the coach are friends of Donald Trump and this is what they get and blah, blah, blah. And then just like the election, out of nowhere, bam, they got slapped down. It was as if God said, no, you don't. I am not going to let this happen. God reached his hand across to the Patriots side of the field
Gave
and
them life.
Tom Brady and the boys came through.
All right.
Now, of course, a whole bunch of Patriots have decided they're not going to go to the White House. They've said they're not going to go to the White House, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
Nobody.
Doesn't bother me at all. A bunch of players never went to the White House when Obama was the president because they didn't like Obama. That's fine. You want to make a statement? Make your statement. But it doesn't matter because all the Hollywood haters were desperately wanting Atlanta to win. And I know these are you love the Falcons team, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, everybody in Hollywood was trying to hop on that bandwagon because they hate Trump. So anybody who's friends with Trump, Hollywood hates them. That's why they hated the Patriots.
Poor Tom Brady. Okay, now I feel bad.
He doesn't deserve that because he is, without a doubt, the greatest
He's
quarterback
amazing.
ever. And it's hard for me to say that because I love Joe Montana and I wanted him to still be the greatest, but you can't argue. Brady's the greatest quarterback. The Patriots are the best team in the modern era. That's just the way it is.
All right, well, congratulations to them. Now, let me give you some more good news.
All
And
right.
let's just pray that I can get through this one.
Okay.
So, the HBO show Girls is ending. After 4 seasons of steadily declining ratings, HBO will finally cancel the TV show Girls, created by
Dun, dun, dun.
Ugly Democrats Lena Dunham and Judd Apatow. What did you give me?
You had me right till the end there.
I think that there's vodka in my water. Okay, last week's episode of the radical feminist favorite show had less than half the viewers of HBO's other show, Ballers, which I love, by the way, about an NFL agent and his clients.
Once again,
The Rock is amazing in that show.
Hollywood hates the NFL. Hollywood.
Wait, this is the good news segment. You don't get to say bad
Hollywood
things.
heaping praise upon this dragon lady, Lena Dunham, who we will feature her in the Ugly Democrats segment next week. She's a horrible person, but every magazine and TV show is just lauding her, what a genius she is, and blah, blah, blah. Judd Apatow, thank you very much. Her show
No, it's Jude.
never had that many people watching it. The ratings were never good for her show. Never. And not just against shows on other networks. Even against HBO shows, she stunk. A show about football players kicks her ass every week.
But Ballers is so good. Have you
Yeah.
watched it?
I watched one episode, and it is good, but nobody's heaping praise upon Ballers. Nobody's saying
I don't
how
know. They
brave.
made The Rock the sexiest man alive this year.
Yeah, well, nobody's saying how avant-garde and how brave he is, to blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I think a lot
Why?
more people would tune in to see him naked than are forced to watch her naked in her stupid show. It's like she knows she's unattractive, so she's going to punish you by making you watch her butt naked in her show.
Well,
I can't think of anything I want to see less. But be
All
that
right.
as it may, HBO, tired of losing money, pulling the plug.
All right, good. Well, let's just let ballers shine on.
Shine on a harvest moon, which is very similar to The Rock's head. He's bald.
Okay, but he's a decent-looking man.
I
know, you can't say anything.
about
Okay,
that.
let's move on from that. You're going to love this.
Am
Of course
I?
you do. SNL is finally funny again.
Yay! Hooray!
Hip, hip, hooray! Finally, after 8 years of not making any jokes at all about Barack Obama, Saturday Night Live has remembered that they are supposed to be funny, folks.
Supposed to be.
Recent shows featuring President Trump and his cabinet have brought the failing comedy show its best ratings in, ready for this, 20 years.
Wow. Not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. I told my Democrat friends in my office when Trump won, I said, don't worry, because there's some silver lining at the end of this cloud. And one of the things I pointed out was that SNL was going to be funny again, because they finally have a president that they can mock.
Yep.
And not just mock, like go all out. And
Well, they are doing it.
see, now the conservatives in our audience, they're saying, AJ, how can you talk about mocking president by Hollywood? You know, you're supposed to be against this. And here's the deal. SNL used to have the ability to take down a president with their mocking. Chevy Chase,
Whoa.
ladies and gentlemen, that's
Sorry.
Allie's
That was my reminder to get my food.
non-professional phone ringing
All
in the
today.
middle of
That was my alarm.
in the middle of our show. That's okay. Don't
Sorry,
worry.
guys.
We'll work it out. Chevy Chase, back in the 80s, the original Saturday Night Live, mocked Gerald Ford, the Republican president who came after Nixon and before Carter, mocked him mercilessly, portrayed him as a clown. And Gerald Ford was a World War II hero, okay? Chevy Chase mocked him mercilessly, and everybody at the time said, oh, it's just because they're funny and blah, they're avant-garde, they're edgy. In the Hollywood Reporter, Chevy Chase lays that lie naked. He says, and I quote, talking about the current SNL mocking Donald Trump and making him look like a clown, he says, that's exactly what Lorne Michaels is trying to do, make him look like an ass because he is one, for God's sake. He's an ass, and he's looking like an ass and hurting our country. Chevy Chase said, talking about his own portrayals of Gerald Ford back in the day, I thought clumsiness is funny, and whatever I can do to get Jimmy Carter elected, by God, I'm going to do it. That's Chevy Chase quoting that. And he also says that SNL was just fine with helping Jimmy Carter get elected. And they did help Jimmy Carter get elected. And Chevy Chase even admits that Gerald Ford told him, you helped Jimmy Carter get elected. That's what this is all about. They're just trying to diminish the Republicans and get a Democrat elected. But here's the deal. It worked in the 80s with Jimmy Carter. It worked with Sarah Palin. They mocked her mercilessly and she didn't get elected. It didn't work this time. They've lost their ability to mock Republicans and have it be effective. And so now, I don't care, baby. Make fun of Donald Trump all you want, because it's only helping. I think Republicans have gotten past the point where they're worried about being mocked by Democrats. We just don't care anymore. If it's funny, it's funny. And guess what?
What?
When Melissa McCarthy went on this weekend and made fun of Sean Spicer, Trump's press secretary, it was funny. And they also made fun of the media, of the news media. Maybe they didn't intend to, but they did. So I don't care. They're blowing this big time. They think they're hurting Trump. They're not hurting Trump at all. It's helping. And it's helping their ratings. So it's good news. It's good news, good news, good news. Make fun of Trump. I don't care. If it's funny, we'll watch it. And maybe the failing NBC will finally get some decent ratings, and they'll be able to keep people, and they won't have to fire all their employees, which they probably are going to have to do eventually anyway. Comcast,
Alrighty
way to go.
Way to go, Comcast.
Yep, they're out protesting Donald Trump on their lunch hour, but they're helping him out with Saturday Night Live. Maybe they don't even think they are, but they are.
You know, you have quite the insight on the world.
I don't have insight on the world. I just have insight on Hollywood.
All right, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
So, did you see Melissa McCarthy on Saturday Night Live?
I sure haven't.
It was hilarious.
Really? I'll have to watch it.
All I can say, I'm going to play one little segment for you. The best part, my wife and I watched this, and we just laughed hysterically.
It's your word. It's your word. Next, go.
Yeah, I'm also concerned about Steve Bannon. A lot of people are saying he's the one behind this Muslim ban.
Yeah, all right, you guys still aren't getting it. What do you need? You need some props? My word's too big. I got to show you in pictures. Great. Okay, here we go. When it comes to these decisions, the Constitution gives our president lots of power, and Steve Bannon is the key advisor. Okay? The president will not be deterred.
That's good.
Not over yet.
Fight against radical Muslims. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
the Wall Street Journal. Are you okay?
Come in.
Oh man.
Best thing Saturday Night Live has done in years, right there.
Good for them.
And Melissa McCarthy, God bless her. It's good to see her something funny again. It proof positive right there. If she gets rid of her useless husband and stops acting in terrible movies that he directs, she can be funny.
She's good.
She is good. She needs to get away from her horrible husband. It's sad. It reminds me of, you remember Roseanne Barr? Back in the day, she had the Roseanne show, and she was so funny. And then she got hooked up with that Tom Arnold guy, and Tom Arnold just dragged her down, and she wasn't funny anymore. And he basically rode her coattails and pretended to be married to her so he could be famous and get his own Hollywood career going. And then he divorced her, and it was horrible. He used her basically to get his own career. And Melissa McCarthy's husband seems to be that same kind of parasite, that Hollywood parasite. So I hope she gets rid of him, because she's hilarious.
She's funny.
She's very funny. All right.
We made it.
We made it. And I don't feel nearly as depressed as I usually do after the show.
Good.
So that's a good thing, right? I
Speak
think we're
for
going in the
yourself.
right direction.
No, I'm kidding. Better than last time. Yeah,
Ouch.
I'd
Hey,
say.
take that knife out of my back. will
All
you?
right, no problem. I got it.
At least my phone didn't ring. You know what I'm saying?
That was my alarm
What was the alarm? That,
to not forget my food. Have you not learned anything about me?
I don't know
am
anything.
always thinking about my next meal.
All right. Well, that's fabulous.
Well, thank you.
All right. I think we did it. Anything you've got? Any last words? Any last requests you got going on over
I
there?
feel like I need to pull like a Jerry Springer and just be like, be nice to each other. What did he used to say? Take care of yourself and each other.
And with those words, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say goodbye.
Say goodbye to Hollywood.
But join us next week. We hope you like this show. We tried really hard to make something insightful, something with a little insight about Hollywood and the crazy people who live here. Come back next week. Tell your friends about it.
Whoa! We just got sucked into the future.
We did. And I don't know what happened there, but
It was cool. Hey, we're figuring it out, guys. It's all new. It's all fun and games.
don't touch that cable, whatever you do.
Me? Okay. Hands up.
So come back next week. We'll have more interesting stuff. Lena Dunham will be the ugly Democrat. I'm telling you that right now. So if you want to see me take down Lena Dunham, which will not be hard, come back. Oh, we're also going to talk about the Academy Awards, because next week's show will be the last show before the Academy Awards,
All
right? So
right.
we got to talk about them. Got to talk about what's going on
Do
there.
it.
So we'll talk about. I think it's the last one, and I will talk about my secret trip to a private movie screening of one of the Academy Award nominees.
Oh, can't wait to hear
And
that.
what did I learn at that secret private screening? We will find out
All right.
next week on the AJ and Allie Show. Until then, I am AJ,
I'm Allie.
and we'll see you then.
See ya.
And
That's a wrap.
no, you're supposed to say and cut.
Oh, I mess it up every time. Okay, guys. And cut. That was loud. And cut. Still loud. Cut.
All right, and cut.